Are you ready? Can't crush us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for. If you're really heavy into wrestling, hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom, bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need, and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah. Can Crushers. Yeah. Can Crushers, let's go.
Hi, Sir Michael Jenks. How are you this week?
Oh, I'm fantastic. How are you, sir? Mark the Mark.
You sound like you're fighting your microphone and it's kicking your ass.
Let me get it around from my beard. Is that better?
That's great. I don't know. Okay. I didn't know if there's any change at all. I just meant that you were fighting. That's all.
I'm fighting with myself every day internally. So
I know. Welcome to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, folks. Welcome to that show.
It's a shit show this week, as usual, but
it really is this week on the wrestling aspect. I think only one show brought it this week. The rest was all filler, and I mean filler.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're talking about the same show when we say that was the best one of the week, but I'll give SmackDown a little bit of props for their title match, but that's about it.
Yeah, touche. I'll give you that. Yeah. I just got done watching SmackDown seconds before the show, so your 5-minute extra gave me that 3 minutes of fast forward time that I needed.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm glad to help.
Yeah.
I'm glad to help when I can.
But we'll get there, so take a drink, folks, early in the morning. Jenks, first off and foremost, how was your week?
My week was good. Can't complain too much. Nothing too crazy happened this week. Spent a lovely Saturday with my lovely girlfriend, and it was a good week.
How is the leg?
The leg is good. I'm actually not hopping around as much. It's more of a steady stride with a limp, so we're in a good place there. No pain, so we're gaining.
Have you shoveled yet?
Yeah, not yet. Soon, but yeah, leg's doing good. How's the ankle? How are you?
The ankle's good. The ankle's good. I went back on the back of the garbage truck this week, and I was bouncing around. Little sore on Friday, but overall, I imagine there's going to be growing pains, but I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, that's good. That's good. How was your week? That's the big question.
Well, we're officially in debt. In debt. I might have pissed off the FCC, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Details?
Details. All right. First and foremost, the in debt part. Last Sunday, I got a bug up my ass, and I ordered a PlayStation 5. It's officially in the building. And I didn't pay, $39,000 for anything, but yeah, I paid a little bit more. I couldn't wait. I needed to have this in my hands for a month prior to get the whole. It's essentially the same thing. The programming is a little bit different, but I needed this in my hands a little bit before the wrestling game came out. So I have a month to get to the menus and know how to do that. So I'm pretty pumped about that. By the way, if you do not have a PlayStation 5 yet, the quickness of it and what it does to PlayStation 4 games is tremendous. Hunter Call of the Wild. Literally, Jenks, I can knock you sitting on your couch right now, and I can see it, and it's that crystal clear. It's amazing.
Serious. Oh my god.
after we got through the spell of, hey, Kel, I ordered a PlayStation. It's on its way. It'll be here sometime this week. No talking for a couple days.
Well, let's go back. You went with the ask for forgiveness later method?
Yes.
Is that what happened here? Oh, God.
Yes. It worked. Because once she saw me playing Call of the Wild, she's like, oh my God, that's awesome. Because that's a game that she actually likes. We've had this conversation before. Like, she watches the screen and she'll whisper, there's a deer to your right. I know. I can say... They can hear it on the video game, Jenks, by the way.
But that's fantastic. She's there helping you out and spotting.
Yeah,
that's
she's spotting deer and bears and all that stuff. So
nice.
I got through that hurdle. I got another part of my tattoo done this week. A little bit of the symbol going on. It didn't get posted because it ink sacked real quick. So, and then some filler started this week. It's the old NWA logo, not NWO.
Oh, okay.
That is coming, the NWA, because I want to get some of my childhood favorite logos in as well, wrestling-wise. So it's going to be the WWF logo when it's on there.
Oh, no, wait. Is it going to be the, like, old school 80s logo or the 90s? No, okay, nice. Yeah. Very nice.
And it's the old NWA one, the, like, burnt green, light blue type of deal.
Oh,
yeah. The Magnum TA, yeah. So that's now embedded into me. Then she did some filler, so that was a little bit of money as well. What else did I do this week? Oh, yeah. I had to stream a basketball game on Can Crushers Wrestling podcast due to the fact that some stuff was going on with the radio station stuff that I work for as well. And I forgot that YouTube doesn't like any music whatsoever. And, warm-up songs and all of that, I wasn't even thinking that. Like, we were having so many issues last night on the streaming service that the station has. And it's a big game. It was a city championship. And I'm like, how do I get this on? So I created an account through a streaming service, and I'm like, where the hell am I going to put it? I hurry up, and this is all within like half an hour, 45 minutes. I created another YouTube page. Well, you can't stream live on a YouTube page the first day, let alone the first hour that you try to do it.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. So I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to do? Well, it needs to be on air somehow, so... Boom. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast, you're getting a basketball game today. So if you're on the YouTube page of Can Crushers, which we haven't put up a lot recently, because we were going to do a lot with it, and then the old COVID hit, and then that essentially went downhill from there, because we were going to take it to events and stuff.
Right.
So I thought, well, I know this one has been active for about a year. It's going to be odd telling people on the radio to go to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast on YouTube to watch the basketball game. But Jenks, they did. They did proud. There was for streaming a basketball game, this is pretty cool. There was about 100 people watching that. Because you can get the numbers. I'm like, maybe that'll help. And maybe most of them were Can Crusher Wrestling fans. I don't know. I don't know if Grandma was, or, Aunt Josephine, or anybody like that. How do I find Little Nellie's game?
This game. Well, you go to Can Crushers, Grandma.
Yeah. So, I'm screaming that across the radio, pretending that it wasn't, like, our site, that another person reached out and said, hey, you can use this one. Most people knew.
Yeah.
Especially since I had my Can Crusher hoodie on last night. Just by... Yeah. Everything falls into scheme. So I'm streaming it, and I'm telling the people at the high school, this is what you need to post. This is, Thankfully, Kelly came to the game, too, because she wanted to just go... Ethan had Snowball last night, so...
Okay.
Kel's like, I'm going to go to the game. I want to watch the girls, this, that, and the other thing. Cool. I'm like, hell, you got to run the camera. I got to run down here, this, that, and the other thing. Boom, boom, boom. it streams, it feeds, everybody's happy. We get home last night and I get an email. Your account may be blocked because of music and this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, oh. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. It's a Can Crusher one. I can deal with it, see how long it's blocked.
Right.
Then I read into it more. It's blocked only in Singapore and Indonesia because You Got a Feeling played.
Well,
That's the song. They legitimately put it up that You Got a Feeling is banned in those two places.
Well, I know we're big in those markets, so that's quite disappointing that it's banned there, But I guess we'll have to take this one on the Send, Mark.
Well, it's only the YouTube, so I don't always put the YouTube stuff on the YouTube.
Fair.
So
that's fair.
But You Got a Feeling.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You Got a Feeling, you have gotten us notoriety in Singapore. And what was it? Indonesia? Was that the other one?
Indonesia.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Son of a gun.
Man, you're just a rebel without a cause over there. I don't know.
Now,
Might have to be a board meeting or something.
Well, that's going to be the other end, the board meeting, because the radio station, I don't think, knew that there was issues with it or whatever, and it was already like a contract that, hey, this game is going to be, essentially televised or streamed or however you want to put it. So I hope the radio station isn't mad, because on the radio station, we normally say, hey, head over to our Facebook page or blah, 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 and you'll be able to watch this. I have to tell people on the radio how to watch this if they want to watch this. So essentially, I'm now giving free promotion away to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast on the radio station and their app across the world again, which is great for us. But I'm like, oh no. What? I'm like, they have to know.
No.
Right?
Well, I think it's a good sign because you haven't heard from them yet, right?
Right. I have not.
I think you would have heard from them immediately after or during.
Right. Well, probably not during, because they're like, oh shit, this idiot's at least trying to attempt something, but
right.
It probably would have been better not to stream it and then the station ask for forgiveness later or give them a makeup one. But nope, that's not the way Mark thinks. Mark's is like, I got a way to go, and head over to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast on YouTube to watch the St. Mary's ECC Girls City Championship game. By the way, if you don't have anything to do for an hour and a half later on today prior to the Super Bowl, head over and watch that game. What a hell of a game.
I was going to say, how did that turn out?
A great game. A great game. Both of these teams are going places in districts. I'll just put it that way. Awesome. Nice. Kelly was like, that's a really good game. They both wanted to win. I'm like, no shit, Kelly. That's the way sports are. They both want to win.
That's fair. Well, you would think.
So sometimes then we didn't talk for 10 miles on the way home because Mark's a complete jackass.
You're pushing it, man. The PS5 and then that. God, you're pushing it this week.
But all came out well, because you know what came out in our neck of the woods yesterday?
What was that?
Shamrock Shakes.
No.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yep. I had two yesterday, by the way. One to the basketball game, one home from the basketball game.
You had two? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I can't wait till I go to the bathroom today.
Be a nice minty green. Now I got to go find out if there's some in my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
I would assume if you have them.
Exactly, yeah. Your parts unknown is a little bit bigger than my parts unknown. That sounded really sexual, by the way. That's okay.
No sexual chocolate here. No Mark Henry, but oh my God.
So, go ahead.
No, so to recap, you've violated Indonesia and Singapore FCC regulations, or FCC. You're back to running on the garbage bag. I don't know what it is for them, to be honest. I'm sure it's a government communication thing. You're back on the garbage truck, had a low pain on Friday, and you bought in the PS5 and put yourself in debt. So you're batting 1,000 this week. At least 775. 775
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, so there's a big game tonight, and it's the Super Bowl. Apparently, some places aren't allowed saying Super Bowl Maybe we'll get docked for this too. Who the hell knows?
It's so I can shed a little light on this because I know a little bit about that. Is if you don't have the licensing rights from the NFL to promote it, you can't say Super Bowl, you can't say the team's nicknames. You can only say the cities they're from.
Good.
If you don't have the rights to it.
So in the Super Bowl tonight, it's going to be the Rams taking on the Bengals.
You're just going for it all. So
I'm pissing the world off this week. That's all it is.
FBI breaking down your door at some point.
Who do you have?
So I've been going back and forth because I really like Joe Burrow. I like what he's been doing, but I'm a sentimental guy and I like Matt Stafford to get a Super Bowl here. Right now, if you'd ask me, I'm going to go Cincinnati.
I am asking you right now.
I know you are. So I'm going Cincinnati right now. I think Joe Burrow and that team go off. The Rams have a great defense, but there's something special about Burrow and the Bengals. So I'm going Bengals.
I'm on the same page as everything that you said. I really am. I don't know if Matt Stafford is going to have many more times. So
yeah.
I think Joe Burrow, I think the Bengals, as much as I'm a Steeler fan, they're going to be the class act of that AFC North for a while. They really are. The Steelers are far away. I think Baltimore is trickling on the downward. I don't think Lamar is going to be the answer. I think he's going to be in and out. We've talked about this before.
Right.
And the Browns are the Browns. Will they ever find a way? I don't know. I really don't. They are on an uptick, but they essentially are still on that same downward tick as they're ticking up.
Yeah.
So I think Burrow has more opportunities. I don't think the Rams do. I think some contracts will be up in a little bit, and this, that, and the other. And Stafford played out of his ass this year. So for the emotional roller coaster that he's had in his career, riding that Lions team, you're allowed to say Lions since they're not in the Super Bowl, right?
No, I'm not saying Lions.
No. I mean in general. Like we said, Super Bowl, that's not allowed. Rams and Bengals aren't allowed. But can we speak of the Lions? I doubt it.
I feel like actually I'm doubting it because I think it's any team in the NFL. It doesn't matter who's in the Super Bowl. It's any team in the NFL generally over the season.
I've mentioned all of them. So
yeah, you've gone through the entire AFC North, part of the NFC North. If you just want to, I'll hit Packers, Bears, Vikings while we're at it just to go there.
There we go. So the North is taken care of.
Yeah, I'm
pulling for the Rams. I saw the first time I did see the spread this week. I don't know. It was on Tuesday. It was like 4. Whatever. I think it's going to be a good game. But I'm excited for the halftime show. You kind of, before we went on air, made a little snide remark about it, but I'm excited for the halftime show. Those are my boys. That's my jams.
To me, so I didn't know how big into hip-hop you were. This is all Eminem, Dre, Snoop, Mary J. Blige. I'm all for this halftime show. Kendrick Lamar as well. Oh, man, this is every person in their 30s. Late 20s, early 30s, in the 40s.
Yes.
Dream halftime show. I think this is the first Super Bowl in a long time. I've been more excited for the halftime show than the game. And I'm not saying I'm not excited for the game because I am, but I just am excited too what they do at the halftime show.
I'd like to be at a Super Bowl party with some of my lady friends that's what they listen to when they're out of the bar. If they're drinking involved, what they're going to be doing, because a lot of them have posted on social media that they're actually excited for the Super Bowl this year, not for the game. So essentially the same reason. Like women are just swooning for the halftime show this year to get down and dirty, nitty gritty, and shake their thang one more time.
Shake their thang one more time.
Right.
Man, you sound any more hip over there. I'm not going to be able to handle it during this podcast.
Good. I'm too hip to be square.
You are too hip to be square. Are we doing this? I'll pull up a song.
No, we're not doing it. No, that wasn't even meant. But we have one more pressing issue. So
wait, one more instead of the Rap God?
Yeah, one more. It's not around the Super Bowl. It's around Barstool Sports in Walmart.
Oh, okay. I don't think I heard this. So what's going on?
Yeah, you're the one that sent it to me.
Oh, did I? Oh, that list.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and introduce it. While I pull that up.
So there's a list running around number one pizza topics around the United States, essentially, and of course, pepperoni wins by a landslide. That's cool, and it breaks it down state by state of what your. I know a lot of you have seen this. State by state, that's the number one topic. Okay, fine and dandy. Pepperoni, sausage, bacon, olives. I'm all on board with those. Mushrooms, cool. I questioned the avocado one, but Jenks took care of it, and it's like California, man. It's California. They're going to put avocado on their pizza. I'm intrigued about that, though. I wouldn't mind trying that.
I think avocado on pizza is probably good. I wouldn't mind giving it a go. But some of these other ones...
Yeah, the one to Pennsylvania and West Virginia, I'm defending, of course, always defending Pennsylvania and West Virginia this time. What the fuck?
Who puts corn on their pizza?
Yeah.
Like, why? I'll go to the other two that baffle my mind, but that I literally posted that on my socials this week was who is picking corn for pizza?
How are you putting it on there?
Yeah, is it a sprinkle after it's done, or is it during the pizza? What's going on here? I can't imagine that's good.
I can't imagine I've ever seen a pizzeria in my life, and I've lived it on just pizza for years.
Yeah.
I've never seen... My best friend's fucking family owned a pizza shop, for the love of Christ. The only time corn was in there is when we ate like a makeshift Thanksgiving dinner, or we did something stupid with corn. It never made its way on pizza. Never.
No. I'm trying to figure out. I'm Googling right now what kind of pizza would have corn on it. And
taco pizza. No, not even the taco pizza that I get from another establishment has corn on it.
No, the ones that came up, now these are just ones that pop up first recipes. There's a Mexican street corn pizza. That might not be bad, because if you've had Mexican street corn before, that's actually pretty good.
It is.
Yeah.
But you're telling me that's the number one thing in Pennsylvania and West Virginia.
That can't be it. I cannot buy that to save my life. Like, I don't buy that at all.
No.
Now, what is more disgusting, though, because these are going to bring in the other two that I'm bringing onto this. Corn on pizza, or New Mexico puts carrots on their pizza, or the final one, it looks like Minnesota puts tuna on their pizza. What would... I would not... I can't imagine tuna's good on pizza. I can't see carrots being good, but I guess that's in the same boat as corn.
Right. See, I'm almost okay with the tuna, because we make this, my grandmother made this Italian dish, it's spaghetti and tuna fish. The tuna fish is in the sauce, and people are like, "Oh, what the hell are you doing?" My wife said that when she met my family, and the first time we had spaghetti and tuna fish that night. She's like, "I don't know what to do." I'm like, "Eat it. You eat it. It's delicious." She tried it. She liked it. I could imagine tuna fish would be all right, underneath a layer of cheese or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm all right with that. The carrots and the corn are the one that really pissed me off.
They just don't make any sense.
None. Well, tuna really doesn't either. So it's got to be a specialty pizza. Where is it? Michigan?
That was Minnesota.
Minnesota, which that's shocking. Is there that much tuna in Minnesota? I know the Great Lakes are there, but they don't. I thought tuna was a saltwater fish. That's what Jessica Simpson told me.
Well, she also thinks it's chicken too, by the way. But we know somebody that lives in Minnesota. We should probably ask him about it. Former Sea Woofy extraordinaire. In his own right. Maybe I'll have to message him and see what he thinks about this.
Who?
But, Steven.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, he works for the Timberwolves.
Yeah. And he's been a mascot everywhere in the world. Yes, I forgot. Yeah. I'm even friends with him. I just forgot that he's there right now because it's... Yeah.
It's been one of those things. But yeah, just odd. Odd.
Yeah.
I got something for you.
Oh no.
That
Okay.
came up Friday night, and I don't think you saw it because I tagged you in it on Twitter. But
No, because I had basketball in the streaming service was working that night. So go ahead.
that's fair. So there was a question that was raised by WWE on BT Sports. Who has the best entrance in WWE history? Now, Moochie from the 40-Year Dash, a couple of our mutual friends, and I chimed in on this with a top 5 list and honorable mentions. I'm going to put you on the spot. Top 5 best entrances of all time. And I'll give you mine after that. While you think, I'll give you mine. How's that sound?
Okay, of all time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay.
If I'm to go with mine, Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance from 2016 to 2018 when he first debuted in WWE. That always seemed like a Final Fantasy boss entrance to me, and it was just epic to me. 4, The Fiend. 3, Shield. 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin. 1, and I feel like this is a definitive one, but you're probably going to check me on this, The Undertaker.
I wrote down 1 and 2 as you were talking 3 and 4. So
Yeah.
I'm going. I should write them the other way, but they're the same. They're exactly the same.
Yeah.
So my 1 is Taker. My 2 is Stone Cold. 3 going backwards. Then I'd really like I'd like to name some of my heroes, but
Okay.
I don't know if they were the greatest entrant. I have to put, for my heart of hearts, I have to put Macho Man at 3 because Pomp and Circumstances is just. It
gets you hyped up for what that style of music is. It gets you hyped up, so I get that. That's fair.
So Macho there. The last 2 are going to be hard. I want to take anything that they've done out of the scheme, out of the wrestling world, so you know where I'm going to go with one of them. He's our childhood. He is what put wrestling on the board for us. I am a real American. Yeah, like that's. I just got goosebumps singing it myself. Like I picture him running out of Madison Square Garden, doing that. Him and Mr. T thing. So Hogan has to be 4 for me.
Okay.
And then, man, 5 just has to be a litany of them because Killer Cross or whatever the hell his name was. That was epic. Yeah, the Fall and Pray was awesome. How can you leave New Day out? Because if you want anybody to energize the crowd, them, The Fiend, I wasn't a huge Shield fan. As epic as it was, it kind of stole from Edge, so you have to go back to Edge coming through the crowd with the Brood then. The Broods itself, the first people coming up through the stage with the fire. The tail end of this list can continue to go on, but I'm pretty solid with my 4. Taker, Stone Cold because of that glass, Macho Man for me, emotional things, and then Hogan at 4 for the old nostalgia version of childhood, and then 5 I have 100 of them. So
I can go through and spot check some of these other lists, but I wanted to give my honorable mentions because you mentioned 2 of them. New Day and Edge made my honorable mentions because Metal Lingus, fantastic. New Day, Big E just bringing everybody in. Oh, Brooklyn! So I threw Jericho out there. Jericho.
The Y2J?
Y2J. I like that one. I do like Judas, but this was a WWE specific list. So NWO. I enjoyed NWO, and I do like
you have to. I'm going to stop you. NWO has to be given to WCW. I know there was an NWO in the WWE, but come on.
The way I think about it is, I include NWO because WWE bought WCW, but I agree with that logic. NWO WCW was way better than what it was in the WWE. Completely agree with that. I'm just including it because they bought WCW and it's all one entity now. Let me give you Moochie's. and I want you to check on this.
I know who number one is. Go ahead.
Who is it?
Goldust.
No, it's The Undertaker. I'll give that away.
Okay.
5 is NWO. 4 DX. 2 you've already mentioned, so let me jump to this one. The Brood. Coming up through the stage, you're absolutely right. Number 3, not Goldust, but Attitude Era. Can you guess?
Val Venus.
No. Close, though.
Close. Wow, that was...
Same. So think of character-wise, kind of in the same realm in aspects of how they operated, I guess. I'm trying to say that properly without giving it away too much.
No, just go ahead.
The Godfather.
Then he should have had Supply and Demand then on there.
Yeah, that's true. I saw his list and he sent it to me, and then we started sending Godfather clips back and forth. So there's some good ones out there between him and The Undertaker, and him and Kurt Angle. So if you get a chance, go to YouTube and check out those interactions with the Godfather and Angle and Undertaker.
You mean Twitter?
Well, we have the list on Twitter, but we checked out the YouTube channel for those clips. But yeah, some of the other ones, I'm trying to see anything notable out here. Ultimate Warrior, he mentioned. Kane was brought up on some people's lists. The one we didn't talk about, but I kind of agree with, and I don't know if you will, Finn Balor, the Demon entrance. That is kind of epic.
It is.
I didn't think about that at the time.
I think they just, in the age of right now that we're at, that they just killed off.
They did.
And it's working. They're trying to make us forget about the Demon, and it's working a little bit. We're also forgetting about Finn Balor in general.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're kind of taking him out, but the Demon entrance was a very good call. And then one other one out here, Rey Mysterio, and I'm assuming that's the one where he pops out of the stage.
I would imagine, yeah.
Who's that jumping out the sky? R-E-Y.
I have one more that I want to bring up. When it was a big fight and Piper was in the main event, and he had all the bagpipe people there lined up, and he would walk through them. Yeah, that one.
That actually went through my mind. I thought immediately of that one when I thought this, but it didn't make my list because it's epic. But excuse me, I lost my voice there. But B, I think all these other ones kind of took it to another level and built off of that. But I can't disagree with any of your lists. So
yeah, I can't disagree with the only shocker on there, and good for Moochie because I'm not mad that he put it on there, but the Godfather's so high. That's Moochie for you though.
That is, and that's the type of person he is in the sense of he enjoyed that stick that he did with them. And I think one of the things we came up in the conversation about was the way the King always acted when he came out. I think that plays into it too. The announcers, if they play into the entrance some ways, it can elevate it even further and kind of put the entrance over even more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like with The Undertaker, everybody's quiet. Nobody says anything. But with the Godfather, King was just losing his mind about everything going on in that. So I think that helps elevate things 100 times better.
Agreed. Know what, Jenks? We did a disservice, and I'm sure the disservice is across the board. There's not a woman's one on there. Like I'm always one to say, somebody. When I think of Sasha's were cool, but nobody else has hit that level. We saw Asuka's come out when she first came out, but is it epic? I think we need one of those big ones. Ronda's music hits, but I'm popping for Avril Lavigne.
Right. So like when I was thinking women's one, I put together women's ones. The only one, Sasha's is great. Like when she came out, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, that was a fantastic entrance with the motorcade and that carrying her out. But I always go back to probably the best one that I appreciated the most out of the women's was Bayley's when she had the inflatable tube men, and that's not saying much.
Yeah,
I know they've had better entrances, but that was the one that stuck out to me most, and that's the one I mostly remember. Nobody has that hook, line, and sinker entrance right now that kind of gravitates towards people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a softball for you. I agree.
Yeah.
I came out at my wedding, and me and my wife came out as Bailey. We just didn't have the inflatable, wacky waving tube men, but
Missed opportunity.
I missed funds during the wedding.
Fair.
It was in the budget at one point until we noticed shit we didn't order beer. So there you go.
Did you? Now I don't think I ever told you this. Moochie convinced his wife to come out to Ric Flair.
Nice.
His entrance music. So yeah, he came out to Flair and he was booing the whole time. So
did he record them and put them on YouTube though? Ours are recorded and on YouTube.
Oh, yours are on YouTube? I don't think his is on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they record and put on YouTube. But...
If you've never watched them, they're Martinez wedding introductions, and we have Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, the Iron Sheik, Macho Man, Triple H that can't spit water. The parents, my mom was in the hospital, so my aunt came out, and Kelly's mom came out to NWO. The kids came out to New Day, and then Kel and I came out to Bailey.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Some of the guys bought stuff. Like, legit. My Ric Flair bought a freaking robe for that day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We had, for Cody's wedding, he actually bought us all socks for different wrestlers and that. So I had Ric Flair. I think Moochie had Ultimate Warrior, maybe? I'd have to check it out. But everybody had a different wrestling themed sock on. Somebody had Macho Man. So everybody in the wedding party had some sort of sock that was wrestling related at that point.
Ours was, oh my God. We'll get into wrestling, folks, but ours was supposed to be a baseball related wedding at first because we were huge baseball. So my gift to all the guys were, along with other things, but we all got our favorite baseball team socks. And then I told people, in November, this is a low-key wedding, wear whatever you want. If you want to wear baseball uniforms or jerseys or whatever, cool, we'll do that. And then my wife said, hey, because she just watched The Office, I think, where they all come in dancing. And she's like, we should do that in a church. I said, Kel, we don't do that in church. That's, my grandma had been passed, but still, my grandma would look down. We don't do things like that into the church. It's, I'm not saying anything across the board, but ours is a pretty strict religious Catholic church. You don't, have Snoop Dogg playing as you're walking down the aisle.
What? Why wouldn't you?
In church. I'm like, so she's like, let's do something into the reception hall then. I'm like, all right, what are you thinking? She's like, I don't know. So this went on for a day or two, and I'm now bugging her. She's like, why don't you pick it out and tell us what we're going to do? Well, then I instantly called John, and I said, she just gave us the okay. Us, meaning it then became me and him's wedding. She just gave us the okay for wrestling themes. Before I got done typing themes, it was like we were on AOL or something, that he's reading it as I'm typing it. He claimed Macho Man right off the bat. Boom. Okay. So I told Kelly, I'm like, hey, this is what we're doing, wrestling theme. She's like, shit, I didn't think you were going to take it that way. We did.
I'm sorry. How did you think you were going to take it?
Right? How else?
I would have immediately thought you would have went wrestling.
And then
out the gate.
We didn't tell the girls until the night of the reception. They're all coming in like, we'll just do it. And the guys are bringing their props in the night before. And they're like, what the fuck is going on? We're like, oh yeah, by the way, you guys have to walk in. You're with Shawn Michaels. You're with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And they're like, what? We're like, we have a night to YouTube it. Figure out who these people are. You're with Shawn Michaels. You're with this. Yeah.
I like how Hacksaw made it into this mix.
He was pumped. He had a 2x4 and a flag.
I was hoping that was going to be the case.
You have to go and watch him. Martinez wedding entrance on YouTube.
I got to see this now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, let's take a quick break because this has gone nowhere with wrestling but the last 5 minutes. We come back, we'll do AEW, and then in segment 3, we'll talk about WWE and make our predictions for Saturday afternoon's Elimination Chamber. But That's all to come. Jenks, you ready for some AEW?
Let's do it.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. If you knew what we did during that break, you would be upset with, I don't know what you would do. But, all right, Jenks, it's AEW time. This is something that we've been wanting to talk about for a while, and why not start with the best show of the week? We did say that we liked something that happened on SmackDown, and we'll get to it, but Dynamite was, like you said, Dynamite!
That was probably the lone highlight of the week, and it was fantastic.
Open to close. Open to close. Just...
And they started hot with the MJF thing. They came right out of the gate with MJF celebrating.
And pissing on Wardlow, just making him bring the cutouts out. And I've known the boy, the dude, the man, whatever you want to say, his acting skills. Like, I literally think that he is now just depressed and miserable in life right now. The way that he was walking out, the third wheel.
He is selling that so well. He's done a phenomenal job. Even when he pissed on him and said Shawn Spears instead of Wardlow, the facial expressions told the entire story.
Yep.
And that's magnificent. I think that just puts him on another level. I love that Punk basically called out and said to Wardlow, hey man, it's time to leave these punks. It's time to walk away. So now we're starting to get that ball rolling where we're pushing Wardlow to move away from it, and it's getting put into his head.
It's got to be now.
Yeah.
I thought for a moment when MJF said, hopefully somebody backstage, you have to pick your partner. I thought it was going to be Wardlow. I really did. I thought he was going to drag out Wardlow, but then MJF said, hey, big man, you have a match next. So I thought, well, we're not getting him in not back to back, but we're not getting him twice.
No, we're not for match. And I love the fact that they made him go back, and he wasn't even fully dressed for his match. He had some ring attire on, but he wasn't like fully taped up and everything for that match. That told a great story of like, he didn't know about the match, and now we have to go out. He has to go back, change work, and come back out for a match against the Butcher, was it Blade? Blade.
It was Butcher. It was Blade. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was Blade. But that was a nice time. It's those little details, Mark, that get me really over the top about it, because you just like, they could have said, oh, he's got his attire underneath his clothes or whatever. But they took the time and said he's not fully prepared, he's not fully dressed, he's just walking into this blind type thing, and that kind of spoke to me a little bit too.
Yeah, I like the caveat that MJF put on, you can't have either one of these two jackasses either, meaning Sting or Darby, because I think picking Darby could have continued the storyline with MJF that they have being, one of the four pillars and everything. So it breaks away from that a little bit. They're always going to be connected, but I thought, all right, that's cool that he mentioned that, because they clearly, one of them would have helped Punk out, I thought.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that was without a doubt.
So let's just jump to the main event, then we'll come back and talk about the rest of them. And it ends up being Punk and Mox.
How about that?
Blew my mind. I wasn't expecting Mox whatsoever.
Neither was I. And when his music started playing, I jumped. I think I texted you right after he started coming out.
Yeah.
Or you texted me first, one of the two. I know I texted somebody, and I'm like, holy shit. It was perfectly done. I'd forgotten about Mox on the show.
I wrote,
Yeah.
did Tony Khan hear us? Because last week we said we want Mox, Danielson, and Punk, and a new kind of like faction NWO taking over the world type deal thing. This was a hint that Tony Khan's like, Mark and Jenks know what they're talking about, so we're going to give them a little bit of a stroke. We're going to start the other way, though. I didn't see it.
I think we should get some sort of payment for these storylines that we keep throwing out for Tony Khan since he's taking our ideas. But God, it gave us that taste of it.
In the match itself was phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Again, it speaks to FTR as well, because let's put it on that. FTR with these guys, there was no way it was not going to be an A+ effort.
No.
Or one of the better matches on the show. And that was saying a lot, because there's a lot of good matches on the show.
There was a lot of great matches on this show.
Yeah.
How about Tully Blanchard getting in the face and whipping Punk with his jacket? Are we going to get Tully in some sort of match, or is he going to be in a cage or something? Like, he is the manager here, or advisor, or whatever you want to call him in AEW, that literally gets in the ring and takes care of business. I'm not saying that Sterling Mark doesn't, or, some of the others, but Tully scuffles.
Tully isn't afraid. Tully will go in there and fight the best of them. He took a GTS in this match.
He did.
So I think we do at some point, but I guess it's going to have to be the right opponent for it. What makes most sense? How far does he push him? Does it become a labor thing? I don't know how that would play out with Tully, but I think it has to be the right opponent for him to be trapped either in a cage or just in a match with. It has to be in a cage, though. Because I don't think you could do it outside of that, because you would have all the interference in the world.
Right.
Or at least a spot with him in the cage against somebody would be good. But Tully, man, A+ effort. Tully's the wrestler of the week for me. Just taking GTS at what, 68? 69,
really?
like
Wrestler of the wow.
I'm just saying. But, who would have thought we would see Tully Blanchard take a GTS this week?
No, not at all. Not at all. Back to Wardlow for a minute. How about how the crowd went banana over the 4 power bombs? This is the time. But Tony Khan, don't do it yet. I think we can get a couple more months of this. I really do, because the crowd wants Wardlow to beat the piss out of MJF so much. You heard how hot they were.
Yeah. So this is playing back. I think Wardlow's going to be in that Face of the Revolution match at Revolution and get a TNT title shot. And I think it comes to a head after that, because we talked about this beginning of January. He owes MJF the title if he wins it.
Yep.
I think this is setting up for Wardlow to get into the Face of the Revolution match, win that, and then go over on MJF, and then MJF and him go over the title.
You have to.
I think have
to
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although there's some people in that match now that's making me kind of concerned if he were to try to go over in that match.
But there's storylines built around them.
No, I agree.
That they could be eliminated from outside interference, this, that, or the other.
I agree. My point is, it puts it into question like AEW can. It's not as clear cut as you think it is.
No,
you know what
it's
I mean?
not. Not at all.
Yeah. That's where I was going with that. It's not as clear cut as you think it is, because AEW does the phenomenal job of building up other talent to go forward and win the match. And go forward, it's put them in the matches.
So let's talk about two people that popped up on AEW this week is we're just going to throw the line out the window. We find out that Limitless Keith Lee is now part of the ladder match at the Revolution. I think Isaiah was the perfect person for him to debut against, to show this power and to have him, because Isaiah's also a flyer. He did a lot of that essentially on himself, flying through the air and everything. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Keith Lee. I didn't know if he was going to get that much of a pop, if he was going to, I don't know, come to AEW that fast. I've not always been high on him. The Bearcat killed him to me. I was NXT Keith Lee, and then when he came up, of course, he wasn't Keith Lee again. So I thought maybe he takes some time away, maybe does a little stint in Impact to get, fresh again. I didn't think, even with the rumors, I didn't think it was going to be Keith Lee.
And then it was.
And then it was. And I was okay with it. I popped.
Yeah, I popped too. And what was interesting about it was nobody forgot how good Keith Lee was prior to that main roster run in WWE. Everybody remembered it in that point in time. And to your point, Isaiah was the perfect first opponent for him because he could sell it. And he could fly around and sell the power and the strength. I mean, that first Beal across the ring where Isaiah almost landed on the top rope, that just set the tone for the entire evening and the entire story that they were trying to tell with Keith Lee. Private Party was the smart choice. Which do you think that would be you would ever say that would be Private Party was a smart choice to bring somebody in?
No, never, because them? I hate them. So no.
I do. Yeah, that's why I was saying. And now they've reestablished Keith Lee. They did a good job putting them over here.
They really did. They really did. I'd like to see, and we were texting each other during this. I said, Mia has to be right behind because she's, and I'm not saying she's a bonus, but she's an added bonus to that women's roster now.
Yeah. Well, I think I agree. Yeah.
And do you know that they did not get married this past or 2 weekends ago?
They did not.
They got married like a month ago, and they finally released the pictures and everything.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because they essentially were not on their honeymoon. They were, this all came out that they weren't on their honeymoon then because they were traveling to AEW. Mia Yim already back to essentially blue hair and all of that overnight because she was on Twitch as this was going on. So, yeah. So,
well, that makes sense then. But hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Have a private wedding and enjoy it.
Way to kayfabe us. That's all I gotta say.
Kayfabe's not dead.
It's not. It really isn't. Mediocre death, but not. The next one we want to talk about is some guy that the Bucks were in the back hanging out, and Adam Cole comes in, and then. I didn't see this one. I did not see Switchblade Jay White popping in. Oh, this is huge. I don't know if he's true to anybody. So this is storylines built again for months.
Well, and that's I think case in point. You saw the distrust in the Young Bucks with Adam Cole bringing it in. It's furthered that split as well. But to your point. He might be signaling in something bigger than just being with Adam Cole or being aligned with Adam Cole. Do you think we see a Bullet Club invasion at some point?
Once you're Bullet Club for life, right?
For life, yeah.
That's what they said.
It opens up the door.
Yeah. Did you hear Tony Khan did come up and say, I believe it was Friday, that he misspoke. He didn't mean the unbreakable, the forbidden door, or whatever the hell it changes every week. But he didn't mean to say that phrase when he was talking about Dynamite this week. He didn't mean to say that because both of them essentially are free agents. So it's not a forbidden door signing on both of these.
Yeah, but I think I understood that. I did see that, but to my thought process on that is, it's essentially still the forbidden door. Because if you think of Switchblade, you don't think he's a free agent. You think he's still somewhere else. Or if you don't pay attention closely as a fan, you think he's still associated with New Japan or anything like that. I also did see, though, Mark, did you see this, that the whole Switchblade thing didn't come to fruition until like the Sunday before?
Yeah. Like they had Keith Lee in their back pocket.
Right. And then they got Switchblade after that.
On Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Screw it. We're going to do 2 big ones because I think we were only prompted for one big one.
Yeah. We were. And what was interesting is I think Tony Khan said in an interview about Tuesday-ish, he said there was a multiple or another one. So I think because at that point he knew he had Switchblade and he knew he had Keith Lee, so he had to kind of up the ante a little bit more. And that's what it was both of those guys.
I know the answer to this, but I want it out there because we both thought this. Did we think we were going to get one more then? And not knowing who. Because not that they both aren't huge. Keith Lee, legitimate and figuratively, signings that were like, holy shit. Because it started with Switchblade, then it went to Keith Lee. We're like, they're going to give us one more. And I thought it was going to come in the Punk match. I thought he was going to drag somebody in from outside that door as well. And I wasn't upset about Mox being there, so don't throw that back in my face. But that's where I thought another one was coming.
Yeah, I kind of expected one more after that. And honestly, events earlier in the week with Killer Cross now and Carrion kind of made me think that it was going to happen on Wednesday, that he was going to show up. So when I saw Keith Lee and I saw Switchblade, I'm like, oh my God, Cross is coming. I didn't think necessarily it would have been for Punk. To help Punk, but maybe somewhere down the line just try to attack somebody or something over the top. But I don't know if you saw that, but there's him and Scarlett were at a signing, and somebody mentioned Atlantic City, and she started talking like, oh, is that where? And then she stopped herself, and then he was like, holy shit. And then they started laughing and giggling about it. So that's why it made me think about, oh, is that Cross? Maybe it was alluding to Keith Lee at that point, but I thought it was Cross at that when they did that and that video circulated. I'm like, are we going to get them too? But
yeah, I did see that, and I did think that it's come out that he signed with MLW. How long? I don't know if the contract's really legitimately out there for how long. Do we see Cross at some point in AEW? Yes, I will firmly believe we do. I mean, maybe he just wants to blow some of the stink off of him, essentially. Not that he has much on him from his WWE run, but I think just hang out in MLW, do some stuff like that, and then to bring too many in, let's do this caveat real quick. To bring too many in at once, that hurts some of your founding members. So Khan has been bringing them in. I think we don't get anybody at Revolution, or I hope we don't get anybody at Revolution. Do I want somebody at Revolution? Of course I do. I want Bray Wyatt. I want I want all these people. But we have to slow down. Every pay-per-view, we can't get somebody new.
Well, yeah, and I think with Full Gear, if you go back to Full Gear, that was almost like the check of, hey, we still have this incredible roster. Let's go back to that. And it kind of kept the expectations because All In was debut, Cole, Bryan Danielson, things of that nature. Revolution, I feel like if there's a signing, it's a massive one that would walk through the door at that point. But I can't see them bringing anybody else in, because they're just in this, to your point, it can be too much. It can be way too much, and you can get burned out by it, and then it loses its appeal.
Yeah,
it's so fascinating. Yeah, but it kind of burns you out for it.
Because then we expect it at every pay-per-view that we want the next big one. You know, this one at Revolution has to be Bray. Then where are we going? It has to be Roman Reigns, and then it has to be Andre the fucking Giant, and then it's got to be, Jack Tunney. I mean, the list goes on of people. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Some of them can't come back. But how far do you go with bringing people? It is essentially, and that's what we were talking about. Inner Circle. See you later. Bye. I'm all right with it. I'm glad Sammy made the first move.
Yes, agreed. I mean, that was a smart. But I guess to me, he was unusually quiet throughout the whole segment, and then he made the first move, quitting, and then it made sense. And then it's like, okay, this is over now, because that was almost like Sammy was acting as the linchpin for both teams.
Yeah.
And when you lose that linchpin, it all falls apart. So I'm kind of excited to see Jericho and Hager versus Santana Ortiz next week.
Does Hager do something? Because, like, I haven't seen him in a month again.
Yeah.
Do we need him, essentially?
I don't know if he's going to get written off, or maybe he costs Jericho. Maybe he sees the light in that match. I don't know. Because I feel like Jericho is going to approach it and this state of he has something to prove. He kind of alluded to that in this promo. He has something to prove. So he might piss Hager off in the course of this match, and Hager just walks out on him, leaving Jericho alone with Santana Ortiz.
Yeah, not joining anybody. Not going with Sammy, not going with Santana Ortiz.
He just leaves.
Yeah. Is this still setting up in your eyes for Eddie and Jericho? Because it's been a slow burn. I thought we were going to get that a long time ago now. Meaning at least a couple weeks ago.
Right. I think I think you're right. I think it's a pay-per-view match. I think it's Jericho and Eddie because Eddie cost him his group. So now it's all about Jericho is going to be on a revenge tour. Everything's falling apart around Jericho right now, and he has to go back to the source of what's causing it. And I think that opens the door for it to be Eddie. Is Eddie injured still?
I don't know.
He was.
I think. I don't know.
Okay.
Jericho posted something, or Jericho didn't post it. He said or made reference that he is kind of the Undertaker of AEW. And I'm not saying that he's mythical or anything like that, but he's there for the stroke of the youngers and to do something in a big pay-per-view. So I ask you, do you think that? Or do you think as Jericho is still a part-time, full-time wrestler? Do you know what I mean? He's not a full-time wrestler whatsoever.
Right.
But he's more than just like Goldberg.
Yeah. I see Jericho in that most experience in the locker room sense. And I agree with him to that point. I don't think he's the Undertaker of the locker room. Maybe that's the aspect, though, he's going with is I'm the most experienced guy here. I can provide the most advice or give guidance or do things of that nature and be that oracle behind the scenes. But I mean, I don't personally think of him as the Undertaker, but again, I don't know how AEW's dynamics work backstage. So maybe he is, or maybe he just sees himself in that light and he's just talking himself up. But I see him being that veteran word beacon of wisdom that a lot of the younger guys come to and ask questions about.
I give you that aspect. I like the way that you put that because I can see him as the veteran, the commandant, something like that backstage. But his work is not where the Undertaker. I'm not disrespecting him for the love of God,
right?
But his work isn't. His matches aren't Undertaker-esque, essentially.
No, they're not must see, and Undertakers were must see. And maybe that was because the Undertaker, when he moved to that part-time role, we saw him once or twice a year. But they were always must see, and it's always a spectacle. We go back to the entrances, and us talking about it being one of the best entrance of all time. It sets an aurora around the arena and puts you in the seats and puts you in the moment, and it's almost of that mythical nature because that's the intention of it. And it puts Undertaker on that next level, so he's operating already at a great match when he just steps into the ring. And then it just goes further and further because he's such a talented professional and can deliver on it without incident. For me, Jericho, I don't think he starts off. Judas is a great theme song, no doubt about it, and it's a great entrance, but it doesn't automatically lift him to that great level. And he's still relying solely on his talent to get that match over or the talents of his opponent. It's mostly hit the talents of his opponents now to get it over in that aspect.
Yes, 100%. 100%. All right, so do we know the next two AEW women's champions? I ask you this because this next spot, Britt and my cousin Martinez and Rosa all had this promo. I think the writing might be on the wall that the next two champions are engulfed in this feud.
That's interesting. So
one being a quick one. Well, two being a quick one. I'll put it that way.
Okay. So obviously Thunder. Why do you think the other person would be that person?
Mercedes?
That second race? Yeah, Mercedes. Why do you think Mercedes would be that next champion?
She's legendary, essentially. Yeah. On the made a huge indie run, and I know they want to give her props. She's a little bit older than a lot of the other wrestlers. She could have a great transition real quick to get it off of Thunder to allow, because I don't think Thunder's going to be a long champion either. No way, not even closely to Britt's reign. But I think because Thunder does so much that she's got a hell of a contract. I think in AEW, because she's here, she's there, she's running her own promotion, she's doing this, that, or the other. And I think AEW would want her at more events, more signings, or something like that. I understand, taking the AEW championship down to Mission Pro and doing stuff down there is awesome. But what is the AEW championship doing at Mission Pro? Where if she has it for a month and then her and Mercedes go at it, Mercedes has it for a little bit longer, and then you get maybe, and I hope it doesn't happen, the same storyline is her and Britt are still aligned, and Mercedes hands it over back to Britt like Andre the Giant did, kind of a storyline like that, and then we have to rebuild the brand for the women again, because you can't have that title handed off, and I don't know. That's just where I see these two going right now, and it's no disrespect to Thunder, but I just don't think that she's going to have that long reign because she's busy, and it's good that she's busy because she's doing, I love you, Britt, she's doing more for women's wrestling than any woman on this face of the fucking planet. So, yes, give her the stroke saying she was AEW champion, but Thunder, you have to be here at least a little bit more. And that's no snide on her.
Right.
She's just busy.
Yeah, she's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, I could see that. You brought up an interesting point about resetting the division. Do you think, now let's play off that a little bit, do you think they move to a tournament again, one-night tournament to name the champion, and that's just how Jade gets the women's title, instead of putting her...
I would go nuts, because that's what I want. WrestleMania 4 is my favorite WrestleMania ever because of that.
Yeah, because it tells an amazing story all in one pay-per-view. And I'm wondering, it also saves, if they do it in that aspect, it can save Jade versus Britt, Jade versus Thunder again, Jade versus Mercedes. It kind of saves those rivalries and those matches for a later time and place.
And it doesn't bury Britt.
It doesn't. Britt could get screwed over at some aspect, or Britt could make the finals and still lose Jade, or anything of that nature, and it still puts Jade over and makes her look even more like a beast.
Yeah.
So, could that be the case?
I hope.
I don't know.
I hope.
I know you hope.
We talked about the FTR Punk match. Oh, Jade has a quick match against AQA. I put this girl as phenomenal. She is somebody, holy shamoly. After doing a little bit of research this week, I didn't know that she was in NXT as well. her name is not even on the back of my mind, but she did a couple spots in NXT as well, so she's polished. She knows what's going on. I think she's going to be somebody to watch here in the near future. I think once Jade loses the TBS title at some point, it goes to like the younger group of Red Velvet might get her stroke there. This AQA girl might get her stroke there. Maybe throw a legend in there, legend status, meaning veteran status or something. Like Bunny can have it a little bit. I think it's a major mid-card title that can put, a little bit more on some of the up-and-coming women. One that I actually see this title built for after Jade is Layla as well. I never thought I was going to be all on Layla Hirsch. I love her right now. She is such a bitch.
Yep. They have built her up tremendously. And she looks so dangerous right now. It's not even funny. Going off of this, though, I've already fully accepted that Jade Cargill will not be beat for that title. She's going to forfeit it or surrender it.
Yes.
When she gets the AEW Women's title.
Yes. I'm on board with that now, too.
Yeah. Because I think that's the only way this is getting off of her.
Yeah. Two things I want to talk about here. Serena Deeb destroys our girl Katie Arquette from IWC in essentially less than a minute. The clock reset twice during that match if you were watching it.
I did.
But congratulations to Katie from IWC getting another spot on AEW. That's awesome. My point is to this, did you see the story that Sheeta put out that she is feeling a little bit lost right now in AEW with as many transactions as I guess you want to call it, people in, people out. It was built when Kenny first started this whole women's revolution in AEW. Many Japanese wrestlers were there, and Sheeta felt comfortable.
Yeah.
Now she's the only one, essentially, and she doesn't know. And I hope this isn't her saying maybe after her contract's leaving, she's built for AEW. I think she just take her pause and then reset and come back.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to do that. You need to refocus and I don't want to say rebrand yourself, but just reevaluate where you sit in the grand scheme of things. I think she's perfect for AEW. I did see that story. It's kind of concerning, but I just feel like this is a temporary bump in the road, and she will eventually find her spot with all these amazing women in there. She's going to find her spot in the company.
But is it a bump in the road? Her and Deaver, we said this months ago that this is a perfect mid to upper level non-championship storyline going. That has us wondering where this ends, what happens, what's going on. Or I think we're actually being worked by Sheeta. Because she's going to come back as somebody different, and then, she's coming right after Deeb.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're probably being worked, but when I say bump in the road, if this is a shoot, it's for real. I think it's more of a mental bump in the road. You have to reevaluate. Sometimes you just take a step back and you have to reevaluate where you are in life. You know what I mean?
We don't know that.
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
No, I meant me and you.
Yeah, I know exactly what you meant. We don't know. But you know what I mean? You sometimes have to take that step back and just reevaluate where you are. And are you happy with where you're at and what you're doing in life? And if it's a shoot, I think that's where she's at right now. If it's not, then if it's a work, then fantastic. And I can't wait to see what she comes back as to beat up Deeb.
Yeah, I agree. Main event time. It's a Texas death match for the title. Archer and Hangman starts and goes all over the arena. Your boy Huskus. As much as I understand in the psychological aspect of it was there, I hated they had this match, the whole match, without the top rope. I think this is where Archer's a big enough guy, and we've seen, at least I have seen, Wardlow legit break the top rope at Rural Valley, Pennsylvania, One time getting into the ring, gimmicked or not, I don't care. I thought he could do it. Archer's that big too. Have him do something like have the top rope break halfway through, or something like that. Huskus was out there in the first 3 minutes of this,
taking the
ropes off, and I'm like, motherfucker.
I didn't like it either, but they found a unique way to do the buckshot after that, I guess. But I didn't like that at all. But I guess I understand the storytelling aspect of it. You take away his big shot, essentially, or you think you take away his big shot, essentially, by doing that. Was it great? No, but I think they were trying to tell a story of, hey, we understand that the buckshot's his go-to and his end all be all, so we're going to take that away from him right now. Yeah. Almost forcing like the dead eye to take over there. But I want to go from that to, how about Jake the Snake getting the crowd all hyped up to almost get a DDT.
I know. I wish they would have Archer with Jake or Huskus, not both.
Yeah.
Like, it weakens Archer that he needs two managers. Two?
I feel like it's a power grab. Maybe they're transitioning Jake out and having Huskus move in to be the manager at that aspect. You know what I mean?
I do. I know.
But to that point, though, I don't think he fits with.
Huskus. I was taking a drink of coffee, and I was going to say he doesn't fit with Huskus Lambert at all.
Mm-mm. But if they move that route, then that's what they move with. But I just don't see him fitting with him. I think Jake was the perfect manager for him.
Yep.
But maybe Jake wants to walk away and step away from the business, and that's why they're trying to transition him off.
And he's allowed to. Not that he needs our okay. He's allowed to. He's done so much for this business. Did you see Adam Page write then I'd like to have a match where I don't bleed all my blood out or something like that?
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah. Touche. He's bled.
Do you want to know what his tagline is next week? It's going to be about that blood. I guarantee you.
Oh yeah.
Somebody in the truck's going to put Adam Page does not want to bleed every month for a match.
It's got to be. So Dynamite was off the wall. Anything else you want to bring up about it? I loved it. Like this was the first wrestling I watched this week. So I'm like, holy shit, we might. I don't know what Raw did or anything else, but if it was just like this or a little less than this, I'm like, whoa, we're in for a great week.
Dynamite brought it this week. Yeah. And Dynamite was fantastic.
So let's transition over to Rampage. We get Pongy Vice against the Bucks, and we hear everything that they did in Japan. That's cool. This was a good match, but I don't know if people were as invested in it until the end or the middle, especially when Danhausen came out. I was wondering why the hell Orange Cassidy
went under.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Why? You just lay down. You don't have to go under the ring. And then once the thumb came up, I knew it wasn't his because it wasn't his thumb.
As soon as he started rolling under the ring, I'm like, it's Danhausen. Danhausen's coming out, and sure enough, he did. He cursed the Bucks.
He did.
Roppongi Vice hit some tope suicidas, but I like that they're bringing in Danhausen and all that, but. Yeah, this match didn't hit like I thought it would.
No.
And maybe it's because it's happened before and we've seen it before, but it just didn't hit on any level. I mean, if you've seen New Japan, you've probably seen this match, but it just didn't hit for me.
It didn't have that. I don't want to say that we've seen it because we've seen Flair against Steamboat a million times.
Right.
Some hit, some don't. I think this was just one of the nights that they had to get other things in. They had to showcase that Danhausen was there. And the main story of this was Jay White coming out and beating the shit out of Trent.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. Well, let's take it back a step. If this match happened a month ago when we thought it was going to happen before Rocky got COVID, I think it would have hit on so many different levels because Danhausen wouldn't have been involved. Switchblade wouldn't have been involved. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's a matter of timing. And to your point, it's what they had to get in and put over in this story. They had to put Danhausen's interference, and then they had to put in Switchblade at the end. So whatever they did in the match kind of could not overshadow what happened or transpired with Jay White at the end.
Do we know, is Danhausen still injured? I know it was, a leg, right?
Yeah, I think he tore his ACL or broke his leg or something like that. But I feel like he's not, but maybe he is. And that's why we're only seeing him in these spots right now.
Still maybe in rehab or therapy or whatever to get back. Because I'm going to say, who are we going to get his first match against? I have to imagine it's going to be somebody in the super elite Click era, whatever the hell we're calling them now, Bullet Club era, Bullet Club.
Click Boom.
Yes, Click Boom is what we're going to call it.
Boom. I feel like Danhausen's first match is not going to be a serious one. I don't think it can be. Just because the character overall lends it against it. Bad opinion, maybe bad take. I'm almost feeling like it's going to be against Cutler.
That would be perfect. Because it's still in the realm of that rivalry then. We're not going to get him against me or you, but it's in that rivalry, and then Danhausen can do his full shtick and still beat Cutler, even doing his shtick.
Exactly. So I think when that happens, it'll be a Cutler-type character. I feel like it's going to be against the Elite, so it's got to be Cutler. I don't think it's anybody else in the Elite. If it is, Danhausen's not losing or not winning that match. If it's Cutler, he's winning. If it's anybody else, he's not winning that match.
I'll disagree. You could have it be against one of the Jacksons, and super athletic and everything that they are. I don't think it needs to be a clean victory. I'll put it that way. That Danhausen will get the victory, but somebody come out and F up one of the Jacksons. He's not going over Adam Cole. He's not going over Switchblade. He's no. But any one of those three, I think just a little bit of interactions. And the clean victory would, like you said, would be against Cutler. He can do whatever he wants and still beat Brandon.
Right.
So we're building up Starks against who now? Because Starks throws Hobb into a match. Is it going to be Hobbs? I don't know what's going on with Team Taz. There's no consistency with Team Taz right now. I'm lost.
Yeah, I have no idea. I think they're in a waiting pattern until they're ready to move on Hook, is what I feel like. And I don't know what exactly that looks like, but it seems like they're just in that pattern of we're biding time until we see Hook, or until Hook becomes our top member, takes that FTW title off of Starks. I just feel like they're in a waiting pattern, and that's the only thing they're doing now. That's just the sense I get from it.
I'll give it to you because I really don't. I don't know. I thought it would have been smarter for Starks to lose it to somebody, and then Hook redeems, and then him and Starks get into a feud, compared to just him hating on Starks. Because Starks is pissed off. He's slowly pissing off Hobbs now by putting him in a match next week against Dante.
Yeah.
So then are we going to get another match in the following week, Dante against Hook, and then we get Starks and Hook. And then we get Starks and Hook again, actually for the title. I don't know. I'm lost.
I'm lost too because I don't know where it is. I don't think we get Hook versus Dante's not that high in the pecking order, but I don't think he faces Dante yet because I think that's a whole other experience than what he's been dealing with. I think at some point he's facing QT Marshall in the next couple weeks. Maybe it's at Revolution that they face, because that seems to be where they're going with that storyline, is Hook versus QT Marshall. So maybe that's at Revolution. That's his first big pay-per-view match. But I just think they're in a waiting pattern, and it's showing that they don't know what to do with it. And that's the limitation of the FTW title. If you're not going to recognize it as an AEW title, they're not going to be able to do much with it outside of what they do within Team Taz. Especially if you're not injecting Team Taz into another title picture.
Right. Exactly. You're just reading my mind today. Danielson's in the back talking about what he thought about Punk and Mox. I thought this was great, and I think, to our point, I think it sets it up. I think we're getting the triple threat, the impact players, whatever we were going to call these guys together, and I think it's sooner than later.
Yeah. The only question now is time. When exactly are we getting this? Next week, Lee Moriarty versus Danielson on Dynamite.
I'm excited for that, by the way.
I'm pumped. I'm beyond excited for that. I think that also plays into the storyline a little bit because remember, Lee Moriarty was one of the name check individuals that Danielson called out in his message or his sales pitch to Moxley. So where does it go? Does that turn Moriarty into an American Dragon protege after next week's match? We'll have to see.
Yeah. Do we think it's only going to be 3 or 4 members now, essentially? Because we have 3 legends.
I think we're going to do the 3 legends, but I think you name check. I think it's going to be 1 or 2 younger guys.
With Lee being one of them.
Lee being one of them. And I can't remember who else he name mentioned in that promo, but I think Lee's one of them. And maybe it's 3 younger guys. They almost be that second generation to take over.
Yeah. Britt against Robin Renegade. Robin, great worker. Again, she's from Mission Pro. She's trained with Thunder Rosa. She's actually tag team champions down there right now. Young into the business. She looked great, though. How about Britt never letting go of, and I know we don't dive into holds a lot anymore, but she let go of that wrist lock for the longest time, even after getting slammed and everything. I love that.
I love that storytelling too, because it shows how ruthless a person can be in essence, because even if you're getting slammed, or if you're getting taken out, you're not letting go because you know you're affecting that person. I love when that story is told in the match because it just adds that other element to it.
And then we get the story that we knew was going to happen. We get Hayter essentially against Martinez with Britt being in the middle. You called it months ago, Jenks. This blow-off is going to happen.
It's going to happen sooner rather than later. Yeah, Thunder Rosa's in the middle of it, but so Britt's in the middle of it. Thunder Rosa's an outside player of it. Let me correct that statement from before. But it's going to blow up, and it's going to blow up in Thunder Rosa's favor whenever it does happen. Revolution probably is where it's trending right now. Do you see...
I know what you're going to ask me because I was going to ask you the same thing. Go ahead.
Well, this is what I'm going to ask you because I'm going to say in the match at Revolution, do you see Martinez and Hayter getting into it and that cost Britt the title? I don't know if that's where you were going with it, but that's where my head went right away.
Essentially, I see Hayter costing Britt the title and going with Rosa.
Okay. I can see that.
This is a storyline that can continue because then you have couple tag team matches, Mercedes against Thunder, Britt gets a rematch if that's what we're doing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is still a I don't know, mid-spring, late spring storyline for AEW.
Well, it's the Shawn Diesel aspect of it. I think when the turn happens, Hayter becomes that babyface Diesel-esque character, if you will.
Yeah.
Not saying she's going to turn around and win the title in 8 days, in 8 seconds, or whatever it was when he beat Backlund. But I think it just puts him in that. It puts her in that predicament to be in that situation where she's just the babyface, a big person. The bigger, stronger person in this whole thing.
Yeah.
It just puts her in that place. The muscle, if you will.
That's what I was going to say. The muscle.
Yep.
Then we get the main event, the Jurassic Express against the Gun Club for the titles, and they retain. And thankfully, you said this weeks ago that Jurassic is just going to get a bunch of people fed to them for a while to make their reign look great. And then they're going to take on, let's say, FTR or Santana Ortiz or the House of Black, and then essentially lose them. That's what this match was for me. I wasn't thrilled. Yeah. I don't think the tag team titles, every time they're being defended, needs to be the main event either. Like, I was not invested into this match whatsoever.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, I wasn't too invested either. I mean, it's the Ass Boys versus Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, so that's just the aspect of it. But it doesn't need to be the main event, but I like that they're putting that type of emphasis on it, that the tag team division can main event shows.
I'll give you that.
Night of the week.
Yep.
And I appreciate that. And I appreciate what AEW does with the tag team division. So was this the best tag team match we were going to see in AEW? Absolutely not. But again, it was a serviceable, let's feed these guys to Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus so that we can build up those wins for, and I'm calling it now, Mark, and you're going to like it. I'm saying Santana and Ortiz to take these titles off of them.
About time.
I think that's the only one that makes sense right now.
It's about time. It's about time.
Yeah.
AEW wrap up. That's it. Jenks, do you want to bring out anything else to the table for this?
No, nothing else.
WWE is going to be quick. We're going to have lots of time for our predictions.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing for AEW right now.
All right, we'll take a quick timeout, and we'll be back with WWE wrap-up and our predictions for next Saturday's Elimination Chamber. At least what we think is going to happen, but it could change 6 times until, well, not Sunday, Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, man.
Hey, this is Base Jesus Billy Starks, and you're listening to the Out of the World podcast of Can Crushers.
Oh, welcome back, Can Crusher Podcast. Listeners, Mark, have you talked about Collar and Elbow yet?
I have not.
You were slacking over there. Al Snow is going to come for you.
Hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool stuff. CollarandElbowWrestling.com. Use our promo code CANCRUSHERS. It's all one word. Capital C and Can, capital C and Crushers. You save 10%. I think we were just a little bit off on... we weren't off. We were just off topic big time.
Yeah.
On the first segment. Guys, you can also listen to us across the board, any place you can find podcasts. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of it's at CanCrusher69. Drop us an email at cancrusher69@gmail.com. Check out What a Maneuver /CanCrushers for merch there. We also have merch on our website. It's cancrusher69 /wixsite.com /CanCrushers. If you don't know any of that I just said, God damn it, just go to Facebook. Everything's linked to that.
Beautiful. Beautifully done.
All right, so WWE time, but Jenks, just because I want one more thing of non-wrestling into this, are you okay with the universal DH? In baseball, of course.
Yes.
No.
I don't mind it.
I hate it. I
Why?
always liked that separation. I was even getting tired of interleague play for a while. Like, I don't want interleague play every day anymore. And it is. It's essentially every day.
I agree with that. I liked it when it was, like 2 weeks in June or something like that?
New York, Chicago.
Chicago,
You know, some forced ones. But, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed those ones. And when it was a very specific point in time, I don't like it every week. I don't like that interleague play. I don't mind DH across the board. That being said, is it going to get weird to get used to? Absolutely. But to me, it's another, I don't know. It doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah.
I guess.
Hey, but we're not steroid testing right now. So that's true.
That's
a
true.
bonus.
Yeah.
So Raw's on Sci-Fi this week.
Yeah.
Is it because of the Olympics? And I didn't even know. I don't watch it live. Thank God it recorded, because apparently I just have Raw being recorded, whatever channel it's on.
Yeah.
Because it came up, we're on Sci-Fi, and I watched the Quiz Bowl, but at the beginning of the Quiz Bowl it said we're uninterrupted for the first hour. They took a fucking commercial right after the Quiz Bowl. So how are you uninterrupted the first hour with a commercial 20 minutes into your show? You caught that at least? I wasn't.
I did.
Okay.
I was like, okay. Oh, I saw the tweet that went out. Hey, it's commercial free for the first hour. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then they brought up a commercial, and I'm like, are they just? But see, that's how they do the pay-per-views now, though. It's like you have the match, and then there's a commercial or something in there on Peacock, and then they go for match number 2, and then they do the same thing. Their commercial free is not exactly commercial free.
No, not at all.
And it never will be.
No. I don't care how we do this on WWE across the board. Essentially,
well, let me throw this out to you. Do you just want to do any highlights that you have? Because I know we talked. There wasn't much from them, but do you think the highlights cover the highlights, or do you? How do you want to do it?
Is good enough. The highlights that each of us have.
Okay. That works.
And I don't know how many there's going to be, but I did like the quiz bowl. I did
too.
Yeah. I'm glad that they didn't go back to like cartoons 3 or 4 times.
Right.
But it was fun. It was what it was supposed to be. I'll put it that way. Was it the greatest non-wrestling segment? No. But it did they get a tag team title shot over it, essentially. Yeah.
You know what it did for me? It reestablished that I want Chad Gable to get a singles run, because it just keeps reminding me of Kurt Angle in the year 2000.
Yeah.
With the way he's delivering his lines and something. I know I keep making the comparison. I know it's blatantly obvious, but it just keeps reaffirming that, because Chad Gable, outside of Orton and Riddle did their part, I thought Chad Gable carried that segment.
Yes. Shoosh. Shoosh.
Shoosh. Shoosh.
That's going to be a thing now. I don't believe a shoosh is a wrestling chant.
Would you buy a shirt that said shoosh?
We should. We better. We have to.
I think so.
As I scroll through my Raw notes, Lita was there.
Yeah.
There you go. Seth and Riddle was an okay match. And I didn't think there was anything great. AJ and Priest was a good match. I enjoyed that. I did enjoy that. AJ, I think, is going to be your next U.S. champion, because they're going to push Priest. And I'm okay with both of that. Do I think Priest gets a legitimate title run anytime soon? No, but I think he's in the picture for a while to come. He can work. He's a big man. He can move, all of that. And then continuing with AJ, he at least makes the U.S. championship reputable again. Not that Priest is devalued it or anything, but it's not going on Reggie or anything like that, because your other superstars, KO, Seth, they got shit going on themselves, which they don't even need a title around them. So, I think that's the way that that's going. One more thing that I want to talk about. 2 more things. All right, Alexa, I love you, but we need to get this going. Essentially, she just cried back-to-back weeks. And she wanted to beat up a lady that looked like Lily at the supermarket. Give us a match, do something, and then, holy shit, we're going to have a budding relationship between Dana Brooke and Reggie. I don't even believe I mentioned that.
It's all for the 24/7 title, Mark. He's using her. No, but anyways, off of that, my week, I'm going to go back to Alexa Bliss comment. I don't know if you've noticed, but she has been slowly turning into Goddess Alexa Bliss over the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
This week's outfit was more of that traditional, just attire. So I think we're seeing that slow transition. It might be crying back and forth for a week, but they're at least doing the subtle hits with it to kind of push that storyline and push that she's coming around, and they're actually bringing her out of the depths of where she was. So I'll give props for that.
It's working, but I just want something more.
No, I agree with that. I don't think you see something more until maybe the kickoff to Mania. I think that's when it kind of kicks into high gear and really gets her going, and that's when we start seeing her more and more into it. AJ and Priest, phenomenal match. I think that's a WrestleMania match for the title, so I think you're absolutely right on that. AJ's going to take the title off of him at Mania. I think that's just where they're building that match up to be. We already talked about the Quiz Bowl. The rest of the show was all right. I mean, KO, Austin Theory, they played it up again. Owens got the win back from Austin. I just wasn't feeling it all. I mean, there's some good matches, but those were my highlights for the week, I think.
Yeah, that's Raw.
Yeah, that was Raw.
SmackDown picked it up a little bit better. They did. The main event match between Naomi and Flair and Sonya getting involved and Ronda being there. We might as well start there. We can dive a little bit into that. A lot of storylines going there. I thought that Sonya was going to come out because she wasn't allowed touching Naomi.
Yeah.
So I thought she was going to screw Naomi again and punch Flair in the face, causing Naomi to get the loss, still setting up a match between them, a legit match at some point, and it's still going to happen, because this storyline's just dragging now.
Yeah.
Essentially doesn't happen. Flair gets a essential clean victory over Naomi. Then she attacks because the match isn't happening anymore, and then Ronda comes out, and now next week Sonya's going to be in Two Slings.
Yeah, Two Slings Sonya. Sonya Two Slings. Let's go with that.
Sonya Two Slings.
Sonya Two Slings.
Sling a ding ding.
Slinging it up. What I will say is I'm very happy that they did not go the normal route or the Brock Lesnar route of indefinitely suspending Ronda Rousey. They brought it back and said, no, you can't have this. You're overstepping your bounds with Sonya. So I like that they finally did that in a storyline. But the match itself, man, if this doesn't remind you how good Naomi is in the ring, then you're blind, because she was phenomenal in this match.
There was a point that I thought, holy shit, are they changing the title on SmackDown? And are we going to get the weave of... I still say at WrestleMania we're getting a three-way. I don't care. I think there's still some way that we get a three-way match at WrestleMania. And if they would have taken the title off of Naomi, that would have been, off of Flair, put it on Naomi, that's the way you could have did it. I don't know. Yeah. I just don't know.
I thought we were going to get... I didn't have the similar thought too, but I thought we were going to get the swerve that we're going to flip the title to Naomi for at least 2 to 3 weeks. And then it was coming back to Flair, because I thought that because in 2 to 3 weeks you can see Sonya get involved, because that stipulation's not on this match, and that could lead to Sonya being removed from power at that point. But I thought we were going to get that swerve, because that's just the way they built that match up, and that means they were actually doing things that we expect as wrestling fans, and mind blown.
Right
on this end, just mind blown. But I'm perfectly fine. I'm Mark, I get where you're coming with a triple threat. I just don't see it happening that way. Especially if they go the 2 titles in the match at for Roman and Brock. But let me ask you this. Do you think it would be both titles in the women's match, or do you think it's somebody's dropping the title and then it's becoming a triple threat?
I think it's somebody's dropping the title and it's a triple threat.
So at this point, that would only leave Becky to lose to Lita.
I know. Now, as of now. So I don't think... that's why I thought Friday night or early this morning. When I was watching this, I thought it could happen. Now it's not going to. I was playing that up a little bit as we talk about it. Yeah, it's clearly not happening now. It's not. This is going to be... They're getting their Flair one... and have it either be a 6-month burn to get to SummerSlam and we get Ronda and Becky, or we get a whole year burn and we get Ronda and Becky next WrestleMania. It's one of those. That's all it is.
Right now I'm thinking it's a year burn.
I do too.
Ronda Becky next year for the SmackDown title. I think Ronda is going to be SmackDown champion for a year. I'll boldly predict that right now.
Yeah, I could see in this Mania match Flair getting, air quotes, hurt and taking a little time off. And maybe, not real life hurt, but Charlotte's been there. Just take a vacation. She deserves it. She's carried both brands for a while when all 3 of them. Becky wasn't there. Bayley's hurt. Sasha was off here and there once in a while. Yeah. Because you can have Sasha and Ronda carry a nice little shtick together.
They had arguably Ronda's best match during her title run was Sasha versus Ronda.
Yeah.
way back when. So I would love to see that. But that leads into another point of Sasha's a part-timer. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, Sasha's a part-timer. She's got other projects going on outside the company. I think they could inject her into a title feud, but it would be a one-off.
Oh yeah,
match, because I just don't. I feel like she's doing other things now. But she's just not dedicated to the company, and that's fine because you're doing other projects and doing other things for yourself. But I would want to see a full-on story with them. But I like your point about Charlotte taking that kind of break afterwards to reset. She's been carrying it for a year and a half now. Well, at least since Bailey left.
Yeah, for sure.
Bailey got injured, but yeah, I could see Charlotte just stepping away and walking away, and then maybe we have a match between them at SummerSlam type thing.
Yeah. Roman talks, Goldberg talks. I want Shinsuke and Sami Zayn to be done with their shtick and just really focus on Sami and Johnny Knoxville. I don't understand why Shinsuke has to continue to be involved into this. Like, can't Shins do something else? Is there anybody else on the roster that we can feud with and have an IC title defense? Is he hurt?
Shins?
Yeah.
I don't think they're fighting next week for the title. So if he was hurt, that makes sense. But to your point, and I think I saw this stat somewhere, since he won the Intercontinental title, he's only defended it twice on television, never on a pay-per-view.
There you go.
So I think they give it to Zayn next week, and Sammy's going to have a long run with that Intercontinental title.
Is he defending it against Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania?
No, but maybe.
Are we getting Knoxville back?
My initial thought was we're getting Knoxville and Sammy at Mania because they keep doing the spots with Knoxville going into the WWE shop and just devaluing all of Sammy's merch in that. I think they're still carrying it. Mike, are we getting Sammy or Johnny Knoxville at Mania? I think we are.
I think we are. And I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
It can be, doesn't need to be for the IC title.
No,
God forbid, let's not have what the hell is that horrible movie?
Jackass?
No.
What do you think of them?
Ready to Rumble.
Walking Tall? Oh, Ready to Rumble. I'm like, I'm naming all the Knoxville movies I can think of. But yeah.
We're not going to get a Ready to Rumble where Johnny Knoxville becomes the Intercontinental Championship title holder, are we?
If we do that, I think it completely eliminates any prestige the Intercontinental title had.
Yeah. I mean, Pat Patterson went down in Rio de Janeiro and won that. Come on.
Yeah. Let's not devalue Pat.
Right. I did see an article this morning, actually, where, and it was before I watched SmackDown, they said Kofi and Big E. They weren't referenced as New Day. Are they getting rid of the New Day moniker? But their New Day stuff was still on the Jumbotron and everything. I don't understand. I don't know who spun this, and I'm being devil's advocate. So they announced him as Kofi and Big E. Who gives a shit? Sometimes they announced Michael P.S. Hayes and Terry Gordy. They didn't say the Freebirds. They didn't say the Rock and Roll Express. They said Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson.
Yeah. I think it's just people taking it to an extreme. You overthink things, right?
Right.
And I think that's where it goes, is people are just overthinking this as, oh my God, they're going away with New Day. To your point, they're not going to get rid of a cash cow.
No.
New Day's making merch money like nobody's business. They're not going to get rid of New Day. What I will, now, if they did, what do you think the smart way to do that is, and this is my opinion on this, Kofi and Big E become very serious players. They step away from that goofiness that is a New Day. And then when Xavier comes back from this injury and everything he's doing, he's still trying to be that lovable character. You could build a storyline off of that would break up the New Day, essentially, to a point. But I think that would be a way to do it. But I can't see them moving away from the New Day. They know what they have there.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's somebody that breaks up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great piece on Rocky Johnson as well. I want to make sure to get that in.
Yes, that was fantastic.
That The Rock narrated. That was amazing. That should have played when Rocky passed away. Like, they didn't give this much acknowledgement when Rocky passed away to what this piece did this past week.
Yeah, that was beautifully done. I wasn't expecting it, and that's one of the great things. WWE can produce some very humbling and very amazing tribute videos or any video packages that they do there. This was so well done. And to your point, yeah, even when he went into the Hall of Fame, I don't think it went to the extent it did on this. Now, The Rock introduced him and inducted him into the Hall of Fame, but it never took it to that level. Never really focused on Rocky. So this was a beautifully done piece by WWE that quite frankly surprised me that they did this and they went to that extent.
Yeah. That's all I have. Anything else you want to talk about WWE before we get into our makeshift predictions?
No, hey, Madcap Moss and Drew McIntyre have a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Yeah.
Just hyping that up. But,
Has Drew dropped that far?
Apparently. I mean, he's going to fight Happy Corbin at Mania, so he's not even sniffing a title picture at this point.
I like Drew, but I'm all right with it. I am. Yeah. I don't know. I think there could be a different feud. I don't know who, but
I think when you look at who's stuck at the top of the title pictures, there's no way for Drew to get in there because they're throwing Goldberg in there as a legend. They're throwing Lesnar in there possibly with a title against Roman. It's so convoluted and so congested at the top that he's kind of just got to sit in this waiting pattern. Corbin's a lot better than people give him credit for. And he's panned out a lot more than he has in NXT, and he's really built upon himself. I don't hate the match. If that's the match for Mania, I don't hate it. It's not going to be my favorite match.
The gimmick.
I hate the gimmick too. But I think the match will be serviceable at the very least.
Yeah. All right. You have the Elimination Chamber up in front of you, I'm sure.
Let me go here.
Remember, we're doing this 6 days prior. It's not 2 hours prior. So we don't know what's going to happen on Raw. We don't know what's going to happen on SmackDown. But here comes our predictions.
So are you ready for this?
I'm not.
Why not, Mark?
This is one that I would not bet anything on, by the way.
Really?
Not a chance in hell am I going to say, let's go double or nothing on the six-pack. No fucking way.
All right. Crap, I lost it. What is this doing to me here?
Let me, as you're pulling this up, we were planning a baseball trip. Would you rather see the Tigers against Tampa Bay and Cleveland against Houston in the beginning of August, or the Tigers against the Angels and then Cleveland against the White Sox at the end of August if you're going on a road trip?
I'm a Rays fan, so I'm going Tampa Bay.
Oh, that's right.
Beginning of August.
Okay.
So I guess I'm not the unbiased opinion here that you were looking for.
You are not. You are not. We were planning on going to see Tigers Oakland and then Cleveland and I want to say Toronto in June, but my buddy decided to take his goddamn family vacation at that time. Come on, there's precedence to be here.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know. What do you want to see more, though? I guess which teams do you want? I mean, the Angels, you're getting Trout.
Yeah, you're getting Trout and Shohei.
Yeah.
So you're getting that. In the White Sox, Kelly, if you're listening, hopefully Mark Burley would pitch one of those games. But it wouldn't be July when he had his perfect game.
Right.
But not the Mark Burley pitches anymore.
Yeah, I know. I got that. But
yeah.
I guess if I'm looking at it from an unbiased standpoint, the prospect of saying Shohei and Trout is too much to pass up.
Yeah, you legitimately has 3 Hall of Famers, and I'm saying it already, in the Detroit Angels game with Trout, Shohei, and Miggy.
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't think you can
Cleveland
pass
White Sox, you're getting a drunk fest.
that up. Exactly what it's supposed to be.
Right. All right. Elimination Chamber predictions.
All right. Well, we mentioned it. Let's start here. We'll start at the bottom of the card, work our way up. McIntyre, Moss. What do you think about Drew and Madcap? This might be pretty obvious, but falls down anywhere. What are you thinking?
Well, it's going to be Drew that gets the win, but I think that Corbin makes his way into the match as well. He just beats off both of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think Drew drops this match, so I think that is the winner there. SmackDown tag titles: Usos, Viking Raiders.
Usos. I don't see the Raiders getting the win. I mean, if there's a title switch that I don't want to say that needs to happen for just a godforsaken story. I think that tag title needs to be switched up a little bit, but as long as Roman has a title, the Usos are going to have a title. I think.
Yeah.
I think they both lose them either the same day or within a week, and I don't think it's that time yet.
That's fair. Yeah, they just haven't built the Viking Raiders up to be.
They
the
lost
team
their
that beats the
antlers this
Usos.
week, though.
I know. Maybe they have fuel and they have that passion now to go out there and get it. Great rapping. We're rapping. We're not Eminem or Dr. Dre. All right. Raw Women's Championship match. Becky Lynch or Lita?
Becky Lynch.
Same. It's the man. The man is doing Becky Two Belts. Or Becky
Big time Bex. Yeah. Lita, cool. The princess is going to get to see Lita. She's going to have some spots. There might be a moment that are like, oh my God. No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. No chance. All right. Women's Elimination Chamber match. Still one spot to be determined according to this listing that I'm seeing here. So Rhea, Nikki ASH, Bianca, Doudrop, Liv, or the to be determined. Mark, is there a prediction for the to be determined spot? And then who's your winner of this match?
There's no chance in hell for a prediction for the to be determined. Nat, maybe, just because she's reputable. I don't know. Do we get a return? I would be pissed if we get a return of Bayley or Asuka. Maybe Lacey Evans can pop up. I think I'd be all right with that if she returns into this. But essentially, this is where Rhea starts her rebound to take back since I've defeated the triple threat match.
Okay. So to me, I think your TDA, you brought up some great
Not
points.
Rhea, Bianca is what I meant.
Okay, I was wondering. I was going to ask about. I was going to say, I think Bianca's winning it. To be determined. I think this is probably Lacey Evans, or I don't think it's Asuka. I think it's Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Bayley either. So probably Lacey Evans here. But yeah, this is Bianca's time to shine, and she's going to take that.
I'm saying it's not Bayley or Asuka because they both are going to get huge pops. You can hate on Bayley if she's coming back bad, okay, and she's still going to get a huge pop, boo, whatever. So you have to give us what we want over here. And Asuka, I don't know if that would get a pop over there whatsoever if it was Asuka making a return.
Well, I don't think Asuka's character would lend itself to that crowd.
Right.
So I think they say, I honestly don't believe Asuka's coming back until the night after WrestleMania.
Right.
And Bayley's probably the same. So I think that might be Lacey Evans to get injected into there. Okay. Universal title match. Roman versus Goldberg. We know you want it to be Goldberg, so just tell us why.
So this can be a 13-second match. I don't think this match is going long anyway, but I think Roman... And he's not going to win with a spear. He's going to choke him out. I'll make that right off the bat. Or even a Superman punch. He's going to choke him out.
I like the choke out aspect. I could see them doing a spot where they pretend to catch him in the guillotine when he goes for the spear.
Yeah.
I think you're right. This is maybe 5 minutes tops. Maybe 10. I don't know. But this is going to be a short match, and Roman's going to get out of there with the win.
So we're saying Bob against Brock is going to be the main event.
Bob versus Brock. Yeah, I think this is the main event. Well, they could probably put. I'm just going in order they have them listed.
No, I know.
Yeah. So WWE title, Chamber, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, Rollins, Styles, Riddle, Theory. Who we got?
I still say it's a 2-title match at Mania. So as much as we said last week that it doesn't need to be, and I'm one that I would like to see Seth or KO get out of this with it, or maybe if KO gets thrown into it, whatever. I want Seth and KO at Mania for the title, is what I want. I don't know. We both said about Riddle being a possible, testing in the waters type of champion here. They do have a tag team title match, though. Does he carry the heavyweight title in his tag team title match? No, that is washed away from me now. So I think it's Brock. I'm sorry.
Nothing to apologize for.
But I mean, it's happy Brock. It's Viking
Brock,
celebration Brock. I think the writing's there now.
Yeah. See, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I think they give it to Riddle. I think Rollins at KO doesn't need a title, so I think they can just have that match. I don't believe they would give it to Brock. They probably will, but I just don't see him doing Brock Roman double title. Bob, I think, is going to find something else to do. Who it's against, I have no idea for Mania. I think the writing's there, and it sets up perfectly for him in Orton, where something happens in that tag title match, where Riddle's like, I don't need this, or I don't need to do this. Maybe he leaves Orton out to dry in that match. Something of that nature.
You're saying then we're going to get heel Riddle, essentially,
I think we get a heel Riddle, because I think it goes to his head.
Wow.
I think Orton's doing so much now and doing a lot now that he's in a face space. And let's be honest, Orton as a heel, yes, he can flat out do it. But is he at that level in his career now where you don't really boo Randy Orton? A lot of people hit that spot. They should be heel, but you don't boo them.
Right.
And I think that's where Orton's at right now. So I think he's fully embracing this storyline, and I think that's what leaves him as a face in this situation with Riddle. So that's my thoughts.
I see your thoughts. I'm not sold yet, so it'll probably happen.
I'm more optimistic than anything. It's probably going to be Brock versus Roman. I'm not naive to that point that's probably what's going to happen here with the titles on the line. But I guess I'm hopeful that it's Riddle Orton for the title.
Okay. I'm hopeful it's Seth KO for the title. But
all right. I like it.
Yeah. And it starts at noon our time.
Yes.
Okay. What are you going to be? I'm not even going to be home. I'm not going to be home. That's going to be our... By the way, happy Valentine's Day tomorrow to everybody. That's our Valentine's getaway weekend that we haven't done in 16 years. So we're going to rip up Pittsburgh. Yeah, right? That's what happens when you have a kid, Jenks.
Rip up Pittsburgh, huh? Jesus. Going to go wild?
She wants to... We were going to go to the piano bar, but that's essentially closed. We didn't know that. There's another one that's open that if you want a table there, you can spend $120 for a 4-person table. Guess what we're not doing? So we're going to go
piano bar.
Yeah. So then she brought up, why don't we go, to a nice little restaurant and then go be complete jackasses at Dave & Buster's and the beer, video games, sports. Sign me up.
Do it. I like it.
Yeah. So that's our Valentine's getaway. Do you have plans for your lady friend?
We are doing.
Well, she's sitting right beside you, so don't say a lot.
Yeah, right. No, we're doing them now. We decided to get together this weekend, like usual, but with working and all that, it's kind of hard to meet up on Valentine's Day, and being separated by an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Putting a stupid holiday in the middle of the week. Come on.
I know, bunch of crap. But yeah, we're enjoying our time together now. So
good. Jenks, that's all I got. Literally,
That's all I got.
I don't know. It's been a full week of wrestling that wasn't full of wrestling except for Dynamite.
Yeah. It was what it was.
I fucked off the FCC. The Super Bowl's tonight. I'm in debt for a while.
When I see online you getting arrested, I expect kicking and screaming. And
I'm going full layout that you have to have like 4 guys carry me out, shackled on both my ankles, my wrists behind my back, and then somebody on each corridor of me taking me out as the dogs are barking, hoping to get treats from whoever the hell is bringing me out, like Dog the Bounty Hunter or something.
You make this as entertaining as possible.
Yeah.
Go down with the fight.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck up FCC a lot more than you think. It's going to be on TV as well.
Well, the FCC won't let you be.
Yeah, especially in Indonesia.
Watch out for those Singapore cane shots.
I know.
I heard those are doozies.
Those are bad. All right, brother. Enjoy the big game, the Super Bowl for the Rams and the Bengals tonight. All you as well, yep. Can Crusher Nation. I'm getting scared because I'm actually having the old ESPN on right now in studio, and so far everybody's picked the Rams, and that worries me now.
That's not good for the Rams.
No.
That is not good. Whenever it's unanimous like that, it's usually the other team that wins. So.
Yeah, I'm waiting. We'll hold out. The last guy is making a pick. One person has picked the Bengals so far. I don't know these people on ESPN anymore. They're not the cool people that used to be on ESPN. I'll just say it like that.
I could not tell you who's on ESPN anymore doing things. I haven't watched ESPN in so long.
Ryan Clark, ex-Pittsburgh Steeler, is the only one who picks the Bengals. I do know him. I know him too. Yeah, Ryan Clark. I actually appreciate his take. So, okay, that's fair. The rest of them, they could be sitting here with me having a beer right now. I couldn't tell you who they are.
I know Dan Orlovsky's on there somewhere.
Okay.
If you don't know that one, that's the Lion quarterback that ran out of the back of the end zone.
Yep.
I don't. If you ever saw that play,
I did.
Yeah. That's who it is. But I know he's floating around there somewhere.
But all right, enjoy your time with your girlfriend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy your week. I'm sure we'll talk about something. I love you, brother.
I love you too. Enjoy your week. Try not to get arrested this week. And be safe.
I'm already in debt. Remember, just because you're trash or I'm trash, it doesn't mean I can't do great things.
It's a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.